So you're welcome back to this YouTube channel. And in today's tutorial, we are going to consider the gradients of a scalar field. So the fundamental concepts. Electromagnetic quantities depend on both time and position variables. Now fields evolve across space, requiring vector fields to describe their behavior. This means that the values of electromagnetic quantities can change depending on where you measure them and also when you measure them. Now let's break this down. A simple analogy would be that of the temperature in a room. Imagine you enter a room after having stood in the sun for quite some time, okay, and then you turn on the AC. Now, far from the AC, the temperature is, let's say, 30 degrees Celsius. As you move closer, it becomes 28, and then 25 degrees, and then 20 degrees. Also, at the beginning, let's say time 0 minutes, the AC had just been turned on, so the entire room is about 30 degrees. After 5 minutes, the air near the AC has cooled to, let's say, 20 degrees, while the middle of the room is about 25 degrees, and the far end is still around 29 degrees, right? And after about 15 minutes, the cooling has spread further. Near the AC is going to be around 18 degrees, middle is going to be around 22 degrees, and the far end would have cooled up to, let's say, 26 degrees. So this tells us that temperature is a function of both time and position. The closer you are to it, um, the higher it is. Okay. The rate of change differs in every direction. Now, a scalar alone cannot capture this complexity. A vector is essential. The gradient of the temperature field tells you the direction in which the temperature increases the fastest. Now, since the warmest part of the room is far away from the AC, the gradient points away from the AC. So, if instead you walk towards the AC, you are moving opposite the gradient. So, you experience maximum rate of decrease of temperature. We have the nabla operator, the vector differential operator that acts on scalar fields to produce the gradient vector. Now, gradients of a scalar field can be expressed in three coordinate systems: the Cartesian, the cylindrical, the spherical. Now, instead of learning all three gradient equations, you can choose to master just the general one and make the right substitutions as to when and where it's needed. Now, the H1, H2, H3 you are seeing here are referred to as the metric coefficients. The U1, U2, U3 you are seeing are the coordinate systems. Okay, so let's try and see if using the general formula we would be able to derive Cartesian, cylindrical, and then spherical. I'm going to consider just the Cartesian, so you can try the cylindrical and then the spherical. Okay, so this is the general formula. So for Cartesian, H1 is obviously x, H2 is y, sorry, U1, U2, U3 is z, H1 is 1, H2 is 1, H3 is 1. Okay, so the gradient is going to be A U1, which is x, H1 is 1, U1, which is also x, U2, which is y, H2 is 1, so we have U2, which is also y. So that's what we have here. We have here. So if the vector given is, say, v, so v here, v here, v here. Okay, so you can try it out for the cylindrical and then the spherical. Okay, so let's consider our first tutorial problem. So the electrostatic field E is derivable as the negative gradient of a scalar electric potential V. That is, E is equal to negative gradient of V. Now the question is asking us to determine E at the point 0, 1, 0. If now we've been given that V here is equal to V naught e to the negative x exponent sine pi y on 4. Okay, so we are going to evaluate this in the Cartesian coordinate since it has x and then y. So E is equal to negative gradient of V. So what's the gradient of V? In Cartesian, we have AX. Now V is equal to this. So I'm going to put V here. So I have AX V naught E negative X. Now I'm going to do same for here. And I'm going to do same for the same V, but because there is no space there, I'm just going to shorten it. Okay, so gradients of V now is equal to, and now we are going to differentiate this with respect to x. And what are we going to get? Negative V naught with respect to y. We are going to get, but since it has no z component, with respect to z is going to be 0, which is 0. So at x is equal to 1 and y is also equal to 1, We are going to have now I'm going to bring v naught e to the negative x outside. So I'm going to get v naught plus pi on 4 um, ay. This is going to give us root 2 on 2. This is also going to give us root 2 on 2. Yeah, so when you work it out, so you're going to get this. Right. Now we know our E is negative gradient of V. So I'm just going to apply the negative. So what do we have? V naught, sorry, there is root 2 here, root 2. Root 2 on 2e ax minus pi on 4ay.